Maya's user interface has a lot of options for customization. For example, if I open up my outliner by clicking this button, you'll see it's currently docked to the left side of my screen. I can grab this tab to tear that off and have it free floating either in this window or on a separate screen, or I can mount it to another part of the user interface. This customization means we can create whatever user interface allows us to be most productive. Maya also offers us some presets for custom-built workspaces in this tab along the top of our screen. You'll see I'm currently set to the Maya Classic workspace. If I click this drop-down menu, you'll see that there are a lot of options for presets for different layouts of our workspace. For example, if I click this Animation tab, Maya will arrange my workspace in a way that is more productive for creating animation. My graph editor is along the bottom. My channel box and outliners are open on either side of my viewport. Let's go back to the Maya Classic workspace. Within the viewport area, Maya has several other options for customization. For instance, if I tap the spacebar, you'll see that Maya goes from a single perspective view to a 4 viewport setup with a single perspective and 3 orthographic views. This allows me to see the object from the side, front, and top view, and if I change the object's location, you'll see how that correlates with the other views. If I tap the space bar in one of these views, I can maximize the scene space for each of those views. Again, tapping the space bar will let us maximize and minimize each of these spaces. Under Panels, I can change these options for the layout. For layouts, we have the option of a single pane, 2 panes side by side, 2 panes stacked, and several other options, including the 4 panes we saw earlier. If I did 2 panes side by side, you'll see now I have the option for 2 different windows side by side, and if I tap my spacebar, I can maximize or minimize either of those. Maya will also allow us to change one of these viewports to a different type of window. If I go to Panels, you will see I can change this panel to a graph editor, and I can change this middle panel to be my perspective camera. Within each of the viewport panels, you'll see you have several options for how to view your object. If I zoom in closely, you'll be able to see that we are currently seeing our object in shaded mode. If I click this button, we'll see it in wireframe, or I can go back to shaded, or textured, or wireframe on shaded. There are also several shortcut keys for these options. 4 is wireframe, 5 is shaded, 6 is textured if we had a texture on our object, and if we had a light in our room, 7 would allow us to see the lighting information. We already learned that we can minimize and maximize this viewport just by tapping the spacebar. But what you may have noticed is that if you hold down the spacebar, we have this menu that pops up wherever our location of our mouse is. This menu is called the Hotbox, and within all of these menu items is nearly everything that can be found in Maya's menu along the top of the window. The Hotbox is a form of marking menu. A marking menu is a type of menu inside of Maya in which we can click and drag in order to choose an option. So for example, if I wanted to change to my right view of my camera, I could drag to this right view icon and release, and it would change. If I hold down W and click, you'll see I get options for my translate tool. And if I hold down Shift and right click, I get a whole other set of marking menus. The majority of these options found in the marking menus can be found in other places in the user interface. This is just another example of Maya allowing you to work the way that is most productive for you. One more thing we're going to look at before we go. If we go all the way down to the bottom right-hand corner, that little character with the cog we saw earlier, If I click on that, it will open Maya's settings and preferences. This is where we can change a lot of the core features of Maya. For example, we could change our frame rate from 24 frames a second to 29.97 or 30. We can also use the preferences to change the height of our time slider. There are tons of options hidden within these settings and preferences. You can also find the settings and preferences by going to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Preferences. Under this menu, you'll also find the Hotkey Editor. This allows you to create custom hotkeys for tasks you perform often.